Hey there friends, welcome to another one of the 31 Days of Samhain. My name is Melina and I'm of course co-owner of Pathways Books in St. Louis, Missouri. And as you can see, we're in my kitchen again. So you may see the occasional car go by out there. But you might be wondering, who's that little guy? And he looks really mushed up and really old. So today we're going to talk a little bit about bringing energetics actually into your kitchen space. And this is a little guy that's been helping me with the 31 Days of Samhain since we started. He started off as a turnip, looking like any other turnip. And I've had him obviously for a little while. He's getting kind of shrunken and kind of dried out inside there. So he's probably not going to last a whole lot longer, but I wanted to talk about inviting the energetic of the season into your kitchen space. So he didn't used to hang here. I think I'll just set him there for us. So I created that not too long ago when I started doing the 31 Days of Samhain as to call in a helpful energetic for while I'm taking on this project for you guys. So typically back in Irish Celtic times, they didn't really have a lot of pumpkins. So what they started doing was carving turnips with scary faces and then putting a light in them, which if I did that to this guy at this point, he would catch fire. I have a little electric tea light, but he's so smushed up it won't fit in there at this point. He was a lot bigger than this. But they would put a light in there to scare away bad spirits or scare away spirits of the people who died in like violent ways and keep them from entering into their home. So you can kind of carve one of these as like a little guardian for your space, which is pretty important. Because again, as the veil thins, you know, sometimes energetics get out there that are not necessarily energetics of the light, I guess you could say, and sometimes wandering spirits do kind of like find their way into people's homes. So it's important to have a guardian spirit for your space, and also to make peace with like any fae energy that's in your home and keep out negative energetics or malevolent fae. So you can carve one of these as like a place to like house your guardian spirit for your home. Or if you have a patron, you can also like do this in honor of your patron of your house. And again, traditionally these were carved out of turnips because that's what they had at the time, and that's where our modern day jack-o'-lanterns come from now. So because I wanted it inside and I wanted to do one that was traditional, so I went ahead and I did it with a turnip. So one thing I would caution you with is your knife will slip a lot when you carve these little dudes, which was another reason why I wasn't going to do it on film, because I was sure I'd poke myself. I didn't, amazingly. And then if you get a stiff spoon, you can kind of just scrape the inside out. That seems to be the easiest way to do it. Now I also coated the inside of this little guy with some lemon juice as like a preservative, and I also put some cinnamon in there so when it would burn, you get kind of like that nice warming cinnamon in your house. And cinnamon's good for prosperity, so that's a good one to put in there. So we had talked about making sure that you had a light in your home to the light drives away the darkness, keeps away negative spirits, negative energies. So you might want to try incorporating any sort of candles or any sort of light into your space as well. This guy looks a little stuck. There we go. But it's very important to like create a very pleasant working space in your house anytime, really. That's why people smudge a lot. They do banishing pentagrams and hexagrams. It's important to keep the space clear. That way everybody in your home stays nice and protected. So again, the light is definitely super helpful for that. Another thing that folks don't always necessarily talk about is a lot of people have house fairies and they may not even know that they have them. I had a friend that kept having things go missing in his home, and this was several years ago. And I'm like, you're not treating your house fairies very well. You need to leave something out for them occasionally. And one day he called me and he's like, okay, what do I need to do? I can't find my car keys. I can't find them anywhere. So I told him, put out a bowl of beer and put a piece of bread in it and stick it in your house, or you can stick it like just outside your house on your porch. And he called me back about 8 minutes later and his keys had turned up, of course, on the table where he'd looked several times before and they didn't find them. So a lot of times people will have house fairies or house sprites that they don't even know that they have. I particularly live in a very, very old house. The house I rent is big and it's been broken up into several apartments. So this house was built in 1900. So it's, when I first moved in, the energy felt a little sticky and not so great. But you know, over time, you just give it lots of love and attention and some smudging, and you know, usually that's all it takes to kind of clear a space in your environment. Um, but the house fairies are very important to keep happy there. So again, beer and bread is good. You can always put it outside, just outside your door is good as well. Which is going to lead us into the next thing that we'll talk about for your home. We're talking a lot about kitchen witchery, but another thing you want to kind of do is kind of keep the outside perimeter of your house safe as well. And you can do that by using a witch bottle that you can create on your own. So a witch bottle has things in it that will like trap negative energy so it can't get into your space. So it may have like stick pins, and it may have like steel wool and different kinds of things that make it not very attractive. But like when all of that's in there, it kind of creates a web almost, where it can track negative entities before they get into your home. And of course we have those at the shop. They're made by a very lovely witch named Cassandra Fay, and the witch bottle is all ready to go. You just have to add your own urine, which sounds a little weird, but it's very acidic. So it's like you want to use that because it helps keep things away from your home and keep things specifically away from you, which is why you use your own urine for that. So you can create these, and then you can either bury them, usually like under your front step, or you can, sometimes if people have like a wooden deck, you can kind of just like slide it down under there so it's not where folks can see it. But it's just, again, we talked about in the previous video, it's really important to keep your space nice and clean and clear and safe during the time when the veil between the worlds grows thin. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. Please consider making a house guardian for your own house. Remember, you keep the lights going, and that helps drive out the darkness. And if things feel like really, really sticky and uncomfortable, you might want to try a witch's bottle. So again, it's Mellit Pathways, and if you need anything at the shop, of course, it's 314-842-0047. And thanks so much for joining us for this 31 Days of Samhain.